Hi everybody, my name is Peter Taylor and I'm delighted to be here with you today on this webinar. Key insights on using automated meeting notes for the project manager and also for the PMO. I'm going to be joined by a friend of mine, Kurt, from Sembly AI. He's going to join us shortly. I'm just going to go through the agenda, do a short introduction. The essence is going to be around the challenge for project managers and the PMO, and that's the part I'm going to be talking to. I've been in project management for many years, and I currently have the pleasure of leading a very significant global PMO with around about 150 project managers around the world, running hundreds of projects on an annual basis. And I'm always looking for opportunities to improve the efficiency of their time, to make life easier for them. It's a very challenging job. If you're in project management, you know that. So I'm going to explore the challenge to the project management world and the aspect to the PMOs. We're going to have a quick look at Sembly AI, and we're going to do it on the basis of, we're going to show you something that is from the past, is a previous webinar that I did, and just show you the output of what is possible using this kind of AI technology. Then Kurt and I are going to have we're going to have a great conversation around what he sees as the 4 keys of actually adopting this sort of type of technology and what you need to think about. And then we're going to wrap things up with a couple of free gifts for you, opportunities as well. So watch out for that. So as I said, Peter Taylor, I'm known as a lazy project manager. I've been traveling the world for many years, speaking and writing as well. But the day job is all around projects, project managers, and it's about running and leading, as I said, a global PMO. And this has allowed me to identify some common challenges. So let's start with meetings. Meetings, and of course more meetings. It's just the reality of life as a project manager. And I kind of love this humorous cartoon here about, planning on meetings to plan meetings, having meetings and meetings to discuss the meetings afterwards. It's a very significant investment of time for anybody really, but I'm focusing on the world of the project manager. I was looking at some research before this webinar. And it was interesting that depends on what you read. There's always a range out there, isn't there? But depending on what you read, a typical project manager, he will spend somewhere between 35% and 50% of their time in meetings. Okay, so not just communicating around the project, we'll talk about that in a minute, and reporting, but actually in some sort of meeting. And of course, these days, that meeting is probably less likely to be a physical meeting. It's going to be a virtual meeting, but the reality is you are locked in and you're supposed to be focusing. You're not supposed to be multitasking. We'll do it. I'm as guilty as anybody else. But the point is, your time is locked away in these meetings. And the ability for anybody to come on and just grab some of your time from your diary. We use all that technology, whether it's Google Calendar or whether it's Microsoft Outlook or whatever. People can find when I'm free. I keep my diary up to date constantly, and people find half an hour here and half an hour there. And suddenly I realise, and in fact, that is exactly what happened yesterday afternoon for me. Was I suddenly realized that I was in meetings from 2 p.m. until 5:30 p.m. because I had some meetings I wanted and other people to fill the gaps. So we spend a lot of time in meetings. The other part of these meetings are, and I'm sure this doesn't surprise you as well, the other part is that, again, another piece of research identified that 37% considered, 37% of the meetings that were undertaken were considered to be unproductive. They were pointless in the sense of there was no real outcome. So all this time is spent in the meetings. All this time is locked away. And actually, there's a big question. It's like, with virtual meetings, does that make it easier to bring more and more people into the meetings and possibly waste more and more of their time? It's an interesting area. But there's another part to meetings as well. And the other part is that when the meeting is over, particularly in the world of projects and project management, you kind of need to summarize what that meeting was all about to ensure people are all on the singing off the same hymn sheet or on the same piece of paper. You've got to identify the discussion points, the agreed actions, that kind of thing. So on top of that 50% of time that you might spend in meetings, you're probably going to spend another 10% of that time again, say another 5% of your overall time, actually documenting the meetings you've just been in. And that's, more than half your time now is allocated to meetings of some form. That's not to say that meetings aren't important. A good meeting is critically important. And we also know that meetings range from everything from a quick stand-up conversation with somebody, two people meeting at the cooler water cooler can be deemed to be a meeting of a sort, all the way up to more formalized, executive or board review, governance type meetings at the high end scale of project governance. So massive amount there. And I think that's the first thing, is that we have to recognize this as reality. And the big question is, how can we become more efficient in that? And I think there's two answers to that. I think one answer is control the meetings you're having, reduce the time, prepare better. We've been through those things as well, haven't we? We've been through lots of training courses that describe how we should do meetings better. But again, between you and me, has that actually ever changed anything? Questionable. Or the other thing is, can we save time in the output from the meeting? And I think that's an interesting one we'll come back to. So the other part of the wonderful world of project management is reporting, and more reporting. Again, the reality of life as a project manager. You're going to do a lot, yeah? Status reports, risk reports, board executive reports, resource reports, various reports. You can go on. There are just so many reports out there. And we've undertaken a number of surveys with people, and it's common that people typically respond to this as saying, well, you know what, I do reports because I have to do them. It's kind of a necessary evil. It's part of my job. But you know what? I'm not a fan. I don't love it. This is not my favorite part of the job by any means. It's kind of tedious. The world out there, all of the stakeholders want slightly different reports. It's quite challenging. So again, it's another massive demand on any project manager's time. And let's just scale that up. If we scale that up to the world of the PMO, as I said, 150 project managers in my world, hundreds of projects. You multiply that out. If I've got 150 people spending over half their time in meetings and probably another huge chunk of their time producing reports and output from those meetings, that is a massive, massive investment of that time. It is project management, but there's better things they could be doing. I'd certainly believe there's better things that they could be doing. And project communication and reporting it feels like it's a full-time activity, and it consumes a huge amount of time. And it's definitely an area. If any of you have read The Lazy Project Manager, I talk about the art of productive laziness. I talk about working smarter, not harder. In this area of communication and reporting and the meetings that support all of this, there's got to be a better way of working, I believe. Because it's all about communication of some form. And, again, you can read a huge amount about communication. There's a lot of science that goes into it, and all the kind of, the filters and so forth. It's a fascinating topic, but I'm a simple person. I always like to strip things back to the most simple possible description. And this is how I talk about communication. For me, it is having the right information delivered to the right person in the right way at the right time. And if you don't get all four of those elements right, you will probably fail to effectively communicate. So if I deliver the right information in the right way at the right time, but to the wrong person, I'm wasting my time. If I deliver the right information to the right person in the right way, but at the wrong time, too early, too late, again, I probably wasted my time, particularly if it is too late. That's never a popular thing to do when people want information like that. So this is at the heart of this whole conversation around the kind of productivity of project managers and the PMO world, of how we spend our time. How can we improve the world out there for us? How can we free ourselves up to deliver more in a more effective way? And that's one of the exciting things around artificial intelligence, I believe, and the impact it's going to have on the project management world. And I've been talking about this for some time. I've written a book about it as well. And I think this sort of technology is going to free us up and take some of the more tedious work away from us and free us up to go on and do the stuff that we really like to do, which is usually about working with people. Projects are about people. One last thing about reporting. It's not communicating typically. And I say that because I just see this so many times in organizations, that the project manager puts together the most wonderful 16-page document with every data point in it, with graphs and diagrams and beautiful fonts and colors and fantastic layout. We know we can do all of this, can't we? We can do this with ease these days. And in fact, they produce this wonderful report and they email it to every single stakeholder and their best friend. The reality is you have probably failed to communicate to anybody because you have failed in the basic rules. You have sent you've sent everything to everybody. You have not delivered the right information to the right person in the right way. You may have done it at the right time. So reporting is not communicating in that sense. And it's one of those things that also demands time of project managers to get it right, because everybody needs that information differently. Everybody responds differently in different forms of communication. And so I think it's really, really critical to investigate the opportunity of improving our lives in this area. There's this wonderful thing called Cohn's Law. This one always makes me smile. I've been referring to it for years, but it does make me smile. It says, the more time you spend in reporting and meetings, of course, on what you're doing, then the less time you have to actually do anything. Less time you have to be productive. And stability is achieved, according to Cohn's Law, when you spend all your time doing nothing but meeting and reporting on the nothing that you're actually doing. And, I'm sure we're going to smile when we see that, and feel free to use that on your next project team meeting, perhaps. But that is a terrible state, isn't it? Where you spend all your time producing reports, having meetings, but actually no progress is being made. Now, look, we can't have a time machine. Again, it's a kind of a common joke in the world of project management is, if only we had a time machine, we could go back and make things so much better. Well, I'm not sure that's the best use of a time machine if I ever get hold of one, but we can't have one. But I do believe that we can have time-saving technology. And at this point, I'm going to invite Kurt to join us from Sembly AI. So just as an introduction, while Kurt joins us, I did another webinar back in June, which is called The Lazy Project Manager's Guide to Artificial Intelligence. It's still available. You can go check it out. But what we did is the team from Sembly AI that are kind of sponsoring this event, they used their AI technology in that meeting. And Kurt, you're gonna share us the output of that, aren't you? If I stop sharing.
Yeah. Just maybe a couple introductory comments. I think you're spot on, Peter, with the cost and the problems with meetings right now. And I read an article just this week on it on Bloomberg that kind of tried to capture the opportunity cost of meetings, and saying that if you're a company of over 5,000 employees, you're probably spending about 100 million or wasting 100 million in these unproductive meetings. And the folks that were interviewed, a third of them said, or that the people in the study said that a third of the meetings are meetings that they didn't even need to be involved in. Yet they're only declining 14%, but they would really like to decline 31%. And 70% of them are multitasking during these meetings. So that's not an optimal situation, both from an opportunity cost to the organization, but also from a people cost. Being respectful of people's time and allowing them to actually get the work done. Because sometimes an hour in a meeting adds an hour to the end of your day because you weren't able to get done what you needed to get done, and it extends a lot of people's work days. So Sembly was created as to say, maybe there's a better way. Maybe we could attach a virtual agent to a meeting, and that virtual agent would be smart enough to actually capture the essence of the meeting and be able to provide that to individuals so that they can consume that information and follow up with the individuals that they need to follow up with at a later time. So what I wanted to do was to show the platform and also show the output of our last webinar so that folks could see what that looks like. So I'll share my screen here.
There it is. I can see it. All good.
Perfect. So this is not a demo environment. This is actually my platform that I look on a daily basis. So you see that it's organized based on a calendar. So you can see the meetings that you've completed. You can see the meetings that you'll be attending. You have the ability to determine when Sembly will join a meeting. When Sembly, you can have it join all of your meetings automatically, those that you originate, or you can signal Sembly to join meetings. And even if you have an ongoing meeting, you have the ability to invite Sembly like you would any individual to that meeting and start recording the meeting. What's really great about the platform is the ability to attach it to a Teams or a Google Meet or a Zoom meeting, but also the ability to record off of your laptop, or we also have a mobile app as well. So you can take Sembly with you, and it accommodates in-person, virtual, or hybrid meetings. You'll see I've got my meetings, but I also have meetings that are shared with me, so that I have the ability to share meetings with other people that they were not a part of, and they can go in and view that entire meeting or aspects of that meeting. And we had a meeting a while back on July 18th, which was with Peter on the Lazy Project Manager's Guide to AI. And if I open that meeting, what you'll see is what was automatically captured during that discussion. So you'll see that I have 4 tabs over here. I have my glance view, which is the summary. I have the minutes view. I have the key items, and I have a full transcript. So the glance view provides a nice summary of what were the key topics discussed, when were they discussed, and then in more detail, what those topics involved. So if I wasn't part of that meeting, or I came late or left early or chose not to be in that meeting, I can quickly get up to speed on what was discussed, were there risks or issues or actions or events raised during that discussion, and find out who raised it. And if an action was raised, I can also see who would be the actor for that action and the associated time period. So it's a very easy way of quickly getting up to speed on what was discussed, and also seeing more detailed meeting minutes. And these are minutes that can be shared with other individuals who were at the meeting or possibly not part of the meeting. You have the ability to add sections as needed. You can delete information, and you can also recreate or regenerate that meeting. So you have a way of modifying the minutes, getting back to the original, and sharing those meeting minutes with other individuals. I can download it as a PDF to share with individuals, or I can actually share aspects of that meeting or the full meeting. I can use passwords. I have full functionality as to whether somebody can edit or not edit. The key items area is an area that has drawn a lot of attention because it's a quick way of understanding the risks, actions, issues, and decisions that were shared in that discussion. And then if you'd like to go to a more detailed view, you can see that in the transcript. You can go directly to that transcript and that part of the meeting where it was discussed to see who raised it, listen back to that meeting, possibly share a link back with Peter and say, hey, Peter, I have a question about what you shared in that meeting. Here's a link to what you said. Could we talk about it in more detail? I also have the ability to add my notes or notes that are only seen by me so that I can have a record attached to that specific meeting. So that's just a quick overview of the platform. There's a lot more functionality within it. And I'm more than happy to show a more detailed view for individuals that want to see that.
Let's talk now about what you define as the 4 keys. And I can see what you've done there, Kurt. It's very clever. You recognize that us project managers, we do like a raid. You've created a brand new raid for us, so nice work there. But why don't you kick us off by talking about the first one? This idea of readiness. What are you thinking in that area?
Yeah, I think with readiness, it has to do with new ways of working. When you look at the capabilities, artificial intelligence, machine learning, adding a virtual agent to a meeting, it's a new way of working. It's a new way of sharing information. It's allowing people to join the meeting when they're going to be active participants, but when they're not going to be active participants, consuming that information at a later date. So organizations that are focused on efficiency and effectiveness and trying to drive cost out and trying to optimize time are organizations that I feel are really ready for this type of capability. Adoption is about how do you bring this capability effectively into the organization, and the companies or enterprises or project offices that we're working with right now, the ones that have found the most success are the ones that focus on an early adopter group. Maybe that's a team of 5, 10, 15, 25 individuals that are going to use the platform and optimize their use of it, capture lessons learned before they roll it out to a larger group of individuals or multiple teams. Integrations.
Before you move on there, I can just make a comment around the adoption side of thing here, because I think that's a really important point. And as you know, with my own organisation, we're currently going through the evaluation of actually this technology inside for our team and our project managers, because I kind of see that it has that great opportunity. But we thought about this. We thought about the okay, how do we go about this? Do we just do we get everybody get a license, or what? No, we shouldn't. With the PMO, the core team of my PMO, we should demonstrate that we're committed to this as well. So our approach to adoption there is that we're going to start using this in our own meetings. We're going to start sharing it with a few people, because we have meetings within our team, but we have meetings with other people from the organization, of course, and we begin to kind of talk about this and get feedback from people. And I think that is a critical step, because when that moment comes when we go, this is saving us X amount of money and X amount of time, and this is a great thing to have, and it really works for us. When we roll it out, then we can demonstrate that we are as committed to it as well, and we are totally on board, and we've experienced it, and we understand what people are going to go through as far as that kind of change of behavior is required. So I think that this is an area that the PMO can play a massive role in.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a good point, Peter.
Yeah. Okay. Now I'll let you carry on about integrations.
Yeah, integrations, thinking about other sources of truth or other systems that you would want to link with this information, because what you're capturing, you're taking unstructured data that comes from these discussions, and you're providing structure. You're putting it into a format. You're capturing your risks, your actions, your issues, your decisions. And that's going to feed other systems, other planning tools, other scheduling tools, other enterprise systems as well. So thinking about the data that you're going to be collecting and where you want to share it is a critical element and something to think about on the front end.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like this, anything like this that comes into an organization, it doesn't just sit there in glorious isolation. It has to be part of the overall technology platform and the sort of tool set that people are using. And of course, we're all using many, many tools.
Exactly. Yeah. And we don't want to compete with those other tools. We don't want to replace a planning tool that's currently in place. We just want to improve the way that meetings are managed, the way that information is captured, and then feed that information to those other tools to allow people to be more heads up in a meeting rather than heads down in meeting minutes. Okay,
so we've done the readiness, we've thought about the adoption, we've considered the integrations. Your final one is differentiation.
Yeah, I think with differentiation, it's finding the right solution, the right platform, the right capability for your organization. So transcription is great. Recording a Teams meeting is great as well. But sometimes it's very difficult to listen back to an entire meeting, and that's not an optimal way of doing it. So looking for a platform that provides, like Sembly, an automatic meeting summary, a true automatic meeting summary, where that conversation is dissected into the key topics, the rate is captured, and that information can be easily reviewed, shared, and then used for follow-up. We added recently in early July the ability to upload MP3 files to the platform. so our clients can share that with us, and then we will provide that transcription and summary back to them through the platform that they use on a daily basis. That's been a tremendous added value for our clients. The ability to have a larger story around API, where you have more data that you need to share with us, and then have us provide that back, maybe with some associated analytics tied to it. And I think the last one is the ease of sharing. How easy is it to go to that meeting and share that information with other individuals, whether you're just sharing the meeting minutes, or you're sharing a PDF of the meeting minutes, or you're actually providing access to the entire meeting so that they can see the transcript and the key items and the summary and all the other associated elements there. So finding a platform that has diverse capabilities that match well to what you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I can reflect. I mean, as I mentioned, I've got a global team, and you know, we cannot possibly be on all calls at all times. It's just physically impossible. And you know, but the team want to stay connected to what's going on. And you know, the choice right now is that either A, they sit and listen to a Zoom or a Teams recording of, you know, for the entire hour and try and catch up, or someone spends their time summarizing the meeting, the key points, and sharing it. Whereas an ability to do that or have that provided automatically, I think is going to be a huge differentiator. Okay, so there we go. We've got the 4 keys: readiness, adoption, integrations, and differentiation. Thank you, Kurt. We're going to watch a little short video right now, so enjoy this.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills.
Well, there you go. That's Kurt. Any thoughts on that video? I know it's one of your favorite ones.
Yeah, I like it from an inspirational standpoint. I know it can be a little hokey at times, right? But I think what we're really saying is that the dawn of AI and machine learning, it's a very exciting time. And when we embarked upon establishing Sembly, there was a lot of uncertainty, right? And we wanted to work through that and provide something that was so meaningful for people. And the feedback we get from our customers about how it's helping them be more productive, how it's allowing them to manage their day more effectively, how it's allowing PMOs to better communicate with key stakeholders and executive sponsors has been very rewarding. So we kind of use that video as a way to inspire ourselves to constantly do more and enhance the platform.
Nice. I do like it. So we promised some good stuff for all the attendees of the webinar, and there are 2 things. The first one is that there's a book by that handsome young man on the left-hand side. So yes, that's I used to look like that. I've got a lot more grey hair now. But everybody who attends the webinar will get an e-book copy of The Lazy Winner: How to Do More with Less Effort, and to help you in your kind of pursuit of the work-life balance and productive laziness. It's all about personal productivity. So enjoy that. That's my gift to you. And the Sembly team have come up with another gift for you, which is a free month with the unlimited meetings. That comes with your yearly subscription to Sembly Team or Enterprise plan. So a couple of great opportunities there for you to grab some free stuff. So that will be coming your way as well. So Kurt, let's wrap things up for folks. I'll leave this slide for you to talk to, and close things off.
Yeah, we're very easy to reach. Sembly.ai. gets you right to the heart of what we provide. It gives you access to the different type of licenses that we offer. We have a pro license if you're just an individual. We have a team license if you have a team of up to 40, and then we have an enterprise license that is good for larger entities where you're looking for some more detailed analytics, pulling that metadata and visualizing it in different ways. So we try to make it very simple. We don't limit the number of meetings or the number of meetings that you can actually view, which is a key differentiator for us. And if you'd like to see the platform or have interest in learning more, please feel free to reach out to me. My email is very easy. It's kurt@sembly.ai. I'm more than happy to talk through the platform, show the platform, or add any additional information that you need.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Kirk. And yeah, if you want to get hold of me, you can see the website, thelazyprojectmanager.com. And at that point, it's been our pleasure to share some thoughts with you. Hopefully you found it useful and interesting. And, stay in touch and check Sembly AI out. So thanks a lot and goodbye.